Hey guys, it's me, Chesser, and welcome to my new Archetype video, and this is on light tackle. In this video I'm going to be talking about four things regarding light tackle, and that's the roles of tackle, the communication when you're flying, and the on-grid positioning / flying techniques that you can use to keep yourself alive, and then lastly, the really important role and kind of unspoken rule of light tackle, which is, finding the content. So to begin, we're going to discuss first the roles of tackle. All right, so starting out talking about the roles of light tackle, there's three really big problems, and I'll kind of break them down. The first is the mechanical difficulty of flying the ships. Interceptors, fleet interceptors flown in small gang situations and like high stress, high speed environments are some of the most mechanically difficult ships to fly. So it really annoys me when I hear people saying that young pilots or low SP pilots can jump into quote unquote tackle because I just believe that's not true. The tackle pilot is probably one of the hardest jobs to do in the fleet. The other two big things that you need are quick thinking and a lot of forethought with also dealing with a really, really harsh learning curve, so it can be difficult to learn how to fly these. Going into the mechanical difficulty, learning how to manual pilot, manual orbit, is one huge thing, and it is kind of a synergy of experience and manual piloting. Do you know what the heated scram of an Arazu is? Do you know what a heated web of a Rapier is without links? How far away can an autocannon ship shoot you? How aggressive can you be with the scram? What ships have newts? Knowing all those things really allows you to play inside your safety mobility bubble, which interceptors can use to avoid dying. The other big deal is scanning. The best interceptor pilots that I know, they can jump into a system and be on that D-scanner almost immediately. They can find ships in anoms, they can find ships on gates, and they can be warping there, getting the content, getting the points, getting the warp-ins, getting the fleet ready to go. And the last issue with the mechanical difficulty of flying these ships is just the experience that you need in order to do that. You see a lot of fleets that run a quote-unquote scout, where they always check in with the back FC before they can do anything, and that is a terrible idea because the amount of communication bullshit that has to go on between like recon, FC, bullshit that goes on slows your gang down by a lot. You miss a lot of opportunities, you can miss getting the drop on people, and sometimes those initial 30-15 seconds into a fight can really determine who's going to win. So that's why if you don't have a strong tackle pilot who cannot basically be the forward FC and lead the fleet to a good positioning, a good warp in, good content, it really makes the fleet clunky and slow. The last thing is the quick thinking and the forethought, and that kind of goes into play with the experience, the small gang experience that I was speaking to earlier. You need to be able to keep track of, as the light tackle pilot, you need to be able to keep track of your fleet, how many jumps you are ahead of them. You need to be able to keep track of ships that are in the system with you. Can you follow them to a gate? Can you call out where they're going? You need to be able to keep that in mind at all times. And you also need to be thinking about, bubbles, or if you point a ship when your fleet warps to you, where are they in position to the enemy fleet? All these things need to be going into your head. So it's a lot of quick thinking, it's a lot of forethought. Do not play a light tackle pilot in a serious gang when you're looking to get some rest or just to lazily sit at your computer. It's a really, really active, go-getter position. And then just the last thing to cover, the reason why I find them very difficult is just the harsh learning curve. You need to really have a good pilot following you, or in a good fleet following you, to really take advantage of light tackle. But lastly, it's just flying in itself. If you make a mistake in a light tackle ship, generally you're just going to die. There is a little chance for you to live, and that can sometimes make learning the position harder than others. So now that we've got kind of the basic ideas of light tackle, let's start and get talking into manual piloting and just on-grid positioning first. Talking about manual piloting, I decided to use this really crappy paint diagram to try and explain the concept. The red dot represents an enemy ship, and what I have drawn below it is a circle or a cone. The diameter of that circle is the kind of flight path that you want to be using on a manual piloting basis in order to use the maximum amount of transversal while not making an orbit of an enemy. When you're orbiting an enemy, you're not really staying in the same zone of space. You can be crossing into their fleet. You're moving around the grid in kind of a not very efficient manner. So you can make this the circle underneath the enemy on any angle you want, from any length you want, as long as you still have the long point on, and that's going to help maximize your speed, which is going to help you evade drones and missiles, and it's also going to help really increase your transversal against turret-based targets. So when I'm flying an interceptor, this is the type of flying style that I try to keep. I always keep this in mind when I'm pointing a target or when I'm moving around the grid, is this type of cone where I'm pulling a circle underneath or around an enemy in order to, really reduce the amount of airspace I'm taking up when I'm, doing a point. Just to give you kind of an example of what this would look like, I'm going to just play a quick clip for you that I've sped up quite a bit. Don't look at the pointing or anything else, just look at how I'm flying, and maybe you can kind of see what I mean when I'm just talking about how I'm flying against a group of targets. So here's the really sped up clip that I'm just going to use to show you a proof of concept. Notice how when I have a target selected, it brings that cone up when I'm flying underneath the two vectors that I'm attempting to point. And it really just kind of goes to show how fast I can keep moving while taking up a small amount of airspace. I'm going to leave the raw comms intact for this next clip. I'm flying light support for a brawling gang with just a few MOAs and a Logi. We're engaging in low sec on a gate against some pirates, and the communication, I hope, is just going to show you guys my thought process. Right away, I'm trying to drop my gang in on their separated Logi, so trying to put the enemy ships, the gate, the Logi, and I'm dropping my ships behind their Logi, so that way we can engage their Logi to start the fight in that way, so that way we can try and leverage a really, really good warp in and hopefully win the fight. You can work to me at 0. You can work to Chesser at 0.
Okay, I'm working.
This is where we die.
Rip snakes.
I believe.
You guys can work?
Boy. Yep.
Can work.
Wait, if Krillin isn't doing links, then what's he doing?
Logi.
Well, coward.
Another Osprey just landed.
Fuck me.
Actually, no, check. No, he just went off red.
Oh, okay.
My bad. Astro, red landed next
I
to
do see 3 Ospreys on scan.
No, yeah, I was right. There wasn't.
Let's try to avoid GCC for this.
Well, you're okay. The Osprey I'm attacking right now is
User
you're
left
good to
your
go.
channel.
Rakula is one I've got pointed. He's slowly moving back into the gate though, so you might want to try maybe another.
Is he flashy red?
Ronug?
Yeah, if he's flashy red, it shouldn't matter. He won't be able to go anywhere. So we're going for Rakula?
Yep. Can I move my point off something else?
Yep.
I'll switch to the other Osprey.
Okay.
Go open, get point on
Reno
something.
was pointed. Or Rano's pointed. Do you want me to go for the scythe maybe? Oh, he's warping off. Okay, forget. They're just letting them die. So at this point, I had dropped in my fleet on top of these two Ospreys. The gate was separating us from the enemy fleet, and we actually got a really great warp in. The entire gang that was there warped off along with their third Logi to leave these two Ospreys to die. And at this point, I'm just kind of fooling around. We have 2 assured kills here on the Ospreys, and we're just hoping to see if they're going to escalate at all. Thankfully, they do.
Yeah, point to point.
Oh, she's locked me. Fuck, I'm scram webbed. Oh, hey, do we have a Logi on the field, by the way?
I'm pointing
Yeah.
the Gnosis.
Rep
No
Rangus.
fire, rep range, no fire, rep range.
Do you want me to go for the Augur? Do you guys have point Gnosis?
When he
I'll go for
lands.
Augur.
Yeah,
Yeah, go for the Nog. Go for the Og.
Yep, going for Aug.
Can you guys, scramble this dude? This Nessus?
Yeah. Scram web.
On the point on ult.
Scram Aug.
I'm gonna go ram the Og.
Running.
I'm nuding him with my small Nos. FC.
I have point on the Og. Chester, switch for the Og
Roger.
Navy.
Roger. Burning Frog Navy.
Fuck.
Rest in peace.
Who's next?
Aug Navy pointed.
Can you rep Aria, please?
Now that all the points have pretty much been comfortably called, I'm just going to speed up this so it's less boring. But in a situation like this where the brawling fleet's fully engaged, there's no reason for me to go into scram range, so I'm just going to hold point on the thing, long point on the thing that they wanted me to point, and just stay safely and prepare myself in case something else lands on grid that needs to be taken care of immediately. Now this Ishtar that lands is not a pirate, so I can't engage him under gate guns unless he aggresses me first. And it's actually going to be kind of an interesting fight, and I'm going to slow the fight down for that just to kind of explain, going all in with a scram on a target and the importance of the Nos. But here we're just kind of cleaning up. They are using links and slaves, and we are unlinked and have no, really cool implants in, so it's been kind of an interesting fight. Two Gnosis, Aug Navy, Augurer versus what we have, and they brought an Osprey in as well, but we actually end up doing really well and trade very favorably. At this point, now that the Osprey is going down, we decide to see if we can get that Ishtar, and I'm the one sent to go after it.
Okay, I worked the Osprey off.
Okay, well, Aug is dying, Aug is dying.
I got half full. I'm so stupid.
I'm gonna go suicide point the Ishtar.
Okay.
I mean, I can get a scram on it in a second. It's just... Oh no, he just aggressed me. He just aggressed me. He just aggressed me.
Chester, point him, point him.
Point. I got point Ishtar.
Scram, go for scram, go for scram.
Already got it.
Take guns?
Yeah, I
Go
just
for
got
scram,
scram.
go for scram.
I got it. He neutered me off. Fuck.
Hey, your scram takes like 0 cap.
Don't be shit, Chester.
I know, I'm still trying to close on him.
Tempest Tempest fleet.
Both the cars whooping out. I'm in low shields.
I lost point. I got my NOS, but I can't get it. Okay, I repointed.
Heat moss.
Scram?
Okay, thank you.
Nice. Alright, are you good?
Yep. Secondary scram.
I got out. Chester has to get out.
Okay.
So, right there against that Ishtar, I actually should have been dead to rights. He could have been pointing me, but he did not. The NOS saved me there and allowed me to hold the point, but going in on a ship like that with full newt rack is actually very, very dangerous for a Scepter. If I had lengths, or maybe if I could have piloted a little bit better, I could have actually scrammed him outside of his newt range, and things would have been better, so that was actually kind of my fault. You'll notice right away, as soon as I had to get off, I called that I was off the grid, and I warped away, aligned, and ready to go. Just to give a little preface, this next clip is just going to be a raw comm. I'm flying again in low sec. I need to be at least 150k away from a station before I can aggro things, and hopefully it'll show a little bit more intense flying and kind of give a showcase to why I love flying the light tackle role so much. I hope you can enjoy.
Shit's warping off. Does anybody see where it's going?
Yeah, to like safe spot.
Let me know when you guys are here.
Vexor?
Vexor?
I'll point Vexor.
Okay, I'm still in the Merlin.
Webs on the Merlin? Merlin's web.
Point on Vexor.
Scram
I
Merlin.
need to ping, I'm getting owned by sentries.
Alright, I'm gonna get Cormorant next. I've lost point Merlin, going for Cormorant.
Gate.
So at this point, some things are starting to fly up to the grid and land near me. The Cormorant's kind of an issue, and learning to fly appropriately in this situation takes a little bit of practice. I'm not trying to go all in and engage targets. I'm not trying to scram everything I see. I'm trying to keep it range, I'm trying to keep my speed up, and I'm trying to stay on the grid as long as I can, providing points and scrams for my fleet. That's really the #1 thing here. You'll notice the light drones from Vexor is already on me, so I'm heating my MWD, trying to just evade them and reduce the damage as much as possible.
And webs.
I have Vexor pointed still.
Yep, I'll grab whatever's left. I'll get the MOA after you guys kill the Cormorant, please.
More stuff is warping up, Kestrel.
Okay, kill
Point MOA.
the Kestrel.
Okay.
Can you
Do I have
guys
webs
me?
and paint
Point
on the
MOA,
Kestrel?
point MOA.
Oh, he's
Kestrel's
burning.
burning.
Lost webs. I shoot the H-on then.
Kill the Atron. Kill the Atron, he's coming out of my carries.
Okay, 2 webs and point on the H-on.
Guys,
God
can you hear
CC'd.
me?
You DC'd.
For fuck's sake. Every time I get into a fight, it's like getting DDoS or some shit.
Yes,
What do you want me to point
Vexor
on?
is
What do you want me to point to?
burning.
I've got point on the MOA.
Okay.
All
I got the Vexor.
right, I got point on MOA.
Yeah. What are we killing?
Merlin.
Kill the Cormorant. He's shooting me.
Okay.
Actually, I'll damp him.
I'll go with point on Cormorant if you want. I'll get point Cormorant.
I have damps on Corm.
Okay,
Paint on Cormorant.
point Corm.
And webs. Slicer coming in. Slicer is next.
Point Vexor.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
2
work my
webs
carries.
on Slicer.
I'm gonna ping off in the carries and come back.
Cormorants these sniper Cormorants are just fucking the shit out of me right now.
Yeah.
I gotta warp off real quick.
I
I got no cap. I gotta warp off. So again, after calling myself warp out, I just want to get off the grid for a few seconds so that way I can get my cap back, AAR myself back to full armor, and then warp right back into the fight in order to continue screening and providing the points for my gang.
Well, if you can. Rain or Chessor, whatever.
I've got a point on Eagle.
No warps.
Do you want to
Just
hold
kill
the Eagle?
Okay.
Hold
Yeah,
the eagle.
keep DPS
Can you
with
damage
him
him down?
hold.
Yeah, I got
He's
damps.
shooting me a lot. It's annoying.
Is he damped? Is he still locking you?
Yeah, he's still locking me.
Fuck, dude.
No, he's okay.
Okay.
Superiority wizardry.
Someone
there's
gets
Corp.
swooping up now.
Vexer.
Vexer.
Okay, you hold point on the eagle, I'll point the Vexer. Chester.
I can actually get both because I'm scramming the Eagle right now. So I can grab the Vexers right here.
And he's dead.
One of Vexer. Okay.
Okay.
Kill,
Most of is swooping.
You got Vexer?
Malediction, malediction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowledge is burning.
Yep. I got point Malediction. Malediction's not burning into you. I'll just pull back around. Did you guys get the point on the MOA? Or do you want me just to start screening
Mr.
for
Thunder.
you?
Malediction's dead.
Okay, good.
If I have one on
Rocket
Vexer right now.
You have
And
point
him,
Vexer?
and him.
I'm killing the Vexer.
Okay. I'm gonna go for Atrons then. I'm gonna burn in and get a point on anything.
There's a Mollis.
I
Yeah,
still
Mollis has Vexer.
have point.
I'm
I still
being
have point
forced.
Vexer. I still have point Vexer. Still have point Vexer. Good job.
I'm being forced off.
I just got
I'm
one.
Can
too
someone
much
kill the
damage.
Molus?
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. He's
Yep.
0 MS.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Tristan
go.
next.
What do you want? What do you want, Tristan? Okay, going for
Yeah,
point.
Tristan.
Going for point.
Headshot the Tristan.
Can you guys please kill the Confessor as well? It's hitting me.
I'm shooting
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
I'm shooting him.
Second is Confessor.
Tristan's pointed. Tristan's pointed.
He's dead.
Thank you. Tristan's
Oh my
pointed.
god.
Fuck up the Tristan. More
I'll
next.
go for the Harpy next. Can we have Damps on Harpy?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Thank you. Point Moa. Point
Can you
Moa.
kill him more?
Yep,
More,
I got
more,
it.
more.
Damps on Harpy.
I got point Moa. Alright, now that you guys have seen a little bit of fighting, maybe now I can talk about a little bit fitting-wise for interceptors. So when flying interceptors or tackle in general, the only ship to fly for tackle are fleet interceptors. The long-range bonus you get from scrams and disruptors is absolutely paramount to keeping you alive on the grid, not to mention the SIG reduction, which is huge, from MWDs, and of course bubble immunity. So really the only ships which are acceptable in my mind would be the Crow, which I have a few setups for you, a Stiletto, as well as a Malediction, which is my personal favorite, along with an Ares. So starting with the Ares and just all the fits in general, I just want to point out that the only reason why they're so tight on fitting, or that they may be so expensive, is because I'm trying to fit a full rack of guns. The only thing that a fleet interceptor really needs in the highs is NOS. The guns are pretty pointless. You're not there to do damage. You're not there to kill other frigates. You're not there to do anything except maybe kill some drones that might be annoying you, but even then, that's iffy. Your job is to survive and to hold tackle. Now, the entire point of these ships is to be able to long point and stay at long point range safely. You'll notice that in my videos, I don't go into scram unless I absolutely have to, or unless the kill is very assured. That's never my goal, is to go in and scram something right away, unless the fleet is ready to prime it and we're trying to kill it right away. But otherwise, staying at long point distance, keeping the point, that is my job. I like fits that are act tanked. The Ares fit that I have here, I'll just explain it very quickly. The low slots are there. Galente have great structure buffer, and with the damage control there, Energize Adaptive, and the AAR, you're going to have some really, really nice active tank and buffer in order to help you survive against drones or whatever else. As far as the mid slots, all scepters need MWD scram long point. The scram is there just to turn off any MWDs that are going really fast, going quickly. Let's say there's some light tackle burning into your fleet, you need to intercept that, get on it quickly. And of course the long point is there because there's a lot of ships that you do not want to be near. Ships that have a 90% web, have newts, things like that. If you get into that side or that close, you're probably going to die, so that's really kind of the last ditch thing. The high slots, again, the only real important thing here is the small diminishing power drain. The NOS will save you against a bigger ship with a newt. You can keep your scram on and you will be very, very good to go. The rigs are kind of interchangeable, but one thing to remember when you're making interceptors, you need an MWD, you need 2 points, and the lock range of a ship, is only 49.5 here, and my unheated long point is 30k. Heated, it goes to 36. So your lock range to long point can get really screwed up if you start adding links or faction modules in. So just make sure that you keep that in mind, either adding small iconic field projectors in the rigs or adding a signal amplifier in the low. Generally, frigates don't have a mid slot, which they can use for a SIVA or anything like that. So that's kind of like my fit on the Ares. Here's the Malediction that I was flying in my other videos. I fit an overdrive injector here just because I like the Malediction to be going much faster. It already is pretty agile, and you can of course swap that out with a nanofiber. But again, just like the Ares, mid slots are the same. High slots, I drop a rocket launcher and put the NOS there, just because again, I'm not trying to do damage. I'm not there to go fight frigates. You know, I'm here to make points. I'm here to make plays by jumping into a system and finding that radar. That's really my job. Again, we've got the ionic field projector, and you can mix and match the fit as far as fitting wise by dropping rocket launchers off and just having a NOS, something like that. Very, very playable. But again, the mid slots are the same, and the low slots are there to provide a good armor tank. The stiletto that I was flying in my clip as well, I'm just leaving this rig slot open because it's really kind of up for interpretation. But the stiletto, the same thing is here. We're not trying to do damage. We're just trying to be really fast. We're trying to have the scram, long point, MWD, and that's the fitting. And the last is the crow, which you can fit a number of different ways. I have an MASB here, but again, the crow is a very, very tight fitting when you want to try and fit all these rocket launchers on it. But again, you can drop rocket launchers, change it up. Here's a different example of that fitting. You of course can go with an MSE fit as well. That's just as good. But all of these interceptors are really, really strong. For those of you pilots that may be new and are trying to get into this and are interested in flying a T1 frigate, here's an example of what T1 frigate that I would try. Of course, they are a lot less survivable than the interceptors just because they have a huge signature, 186 compared to the Crow's 78, which, is more than double. And it sometimes can make it difficult surviving against drones and other higher tracking turrets. It's just something to keep in mind when you're flying a light tackle ship. That's just a really, really quick review. It's in no way fully encompassing on fittings, but I just really wanted to leave you with the intention of the fleet tackler, which is speed, survivability, and making sure that your low slot has tanks or your mid slot has an extra tank there. You need a scram scram long point MWD, and then your high slots weapons are kind of optional. Just make sure that you get that NOS on there, so if you get on top of a newt ship or anything like that, you can NOS off him to keep your scram going and to maybe get an MWD cycle. Anyway, that's just some basic tips. If you have any other questions, feel free to PM me. This next short bit here, I'm just going to be describing a little bit of scanning technique, and then we're just going to wrap it all up with another fight and just giving some examples of what to do during another brawling situation. Hope you can enjoy. So this is what I mean by getting into a system and scanning it quickly. I have my D-scan and my probe launcher here up so I can see shit. That's ANOM. So right away when you jump into a system, you want to have your D-scan up. You want to be looking to your left, seeing the ranges AU, how far things are away from you. So immediately hit scan at 14 AU. Now obviously there's nothing here at the moment because this is a dead-end system, but if there is a ship, you immediately want to start narrowing them by range. Go to 10, go to 5, seeing if there's anything there. If you have them between 5 and 10, then you can start narrowing up until you get them. So you can get 6, you can do a scan at 7, 8, until you get them. Once you have roughly between 1 or 2 AU of where they are, pull up your cosmic ANOMs. So your ANOMs are going to appear like here on the green, and you need to look and find ones that are close to you. So obviously if we had detected a guy between 6 and 7, finding the ANOM that's between those distances and then warping there right away at 0 is going to call, or at least is going to give you the best chance at calling the point and getting the content. And that's basically how you find targets very, very quickly when you warp in. If you warp into a system like this, and I obviously wasn't in D-scan of anything, your best bet then is to honestly just warp to like hordes, havens, stuff like that. I'm in drone space right now, so nothing is super amazing, but that's the general idea. The speed at which you can do that is really paramount to catching radars or to catching things that are maybe not warping off right away. And getting faster and faster and faster at it is going to allow you to catch more and more people, or people that are a little bit slow on the keyboard, which is great. People that D-scan down and narrow to each single sig is really kind of pointless. If you see some stuff on grid, or excuse me, stuff on your D-scan, remember you can take your overview profile off. You can look for drones out, you can look for wrecks, you can look for things that can kind of let you know that there is active ratting going on in the system. But definitely do not spend time narrow D-scanning down reasonable ANOM. You want to get like the small cluster. So in that example there, that between the 6 and 7 AU, you want to get that small cluster pegged out and just only have to go through 1 or 2 quick focus D scans before warping immediately to your target. That's how I go about scanning. Maybe you have another way, but generally you want to have both tabs pulled up and ready to go, so that way you can warp on top of ratters, or people running anoms or doing mining, anything like that. Hope that helped. So just kind of getting towards the end of the video here, obviously the scanning techniques that I just showed you come with practice, and learning how to find people that are ratting, doing those things like that. Getting faster will allow you to get the jump on more targets and hopefully provide your gang with more content. The last point I want to touch on here is just communication. You know, when you are flying the interceptor role, you're basically the forward FC. Make a narrative. Talk about where you're jumping, talk about where you're going, talk about what you see, and just let everyone know. Really, the people behind you should just be advancing forward towards the destination, and you're kind of their eyes and ears of the fleet. You know, when you jump into a system, I like to say, you know, system name, so like EC Tech PR, D-scan clear, gate clear. So that lets everyone know that there's nothing on 14 AU of the gate, and the gate's clear. You call out how many's local, so 3 in local, and then you can just say what you're doing, you know, warping to outgate. And that's your call real quick on comm. And it doesn't need to be there doesn't need to be any pomp and circumstance around that. You make that call. There isn't really any reason why people can't hear that and know that that system is clear. You know, once you hit the outgate, you can, if it's out of D-scan range, just let them know, you know, outgate in EC Tech PR clear, jumping. And, you know, you jump again, and then the same thing calls again. So you can say like PF Tech R, you know, in-gate clear, D-scan clear, warping outgate. That is really fine. You know, you find something, you can say, you know, found, or like I see ratters, you know, scanning. You know, just let them know what you're doing. You don't need to, you know, preface this. The last fight that I just want to show you, now that we've kind of covered just a little bit of the communication, is just, again, some flying inside a brawling fleet. So again, this fight's recorded in low sec, so I need to be really careful of who am I aggressing. Need to make sure that they have criminal time around, otherwise I will get destroyed by gate guns. As you can see, there's a nice brawl going on at the gate, and with this VPLs and what they have there, I have no reason to get anywhere near that AF fleet. You know, they're obviously fully engaged in the MOAs, and I don't need to be near them at all. So I'm sitting out on the periphery with the other light ships, and you know, I see this Griffin here completely isolated and alone, so I'm going to take the time to go in and attack them. You know, in a light tackle situation, if you find situations where your light tackle isn't needed, where your mobility or scram or long point isn't needed, try and look to what you can be doing in the fight, whether it's, you know, burning to another area to allow for a warp in, or killing, you know, easy soft peripheral targets that are undefended. For example, this Griffin that's very out of position here and not near any protection. You know, things like this are things that you can do to try and pick up kills, make it easier for your team, you know, to hopefully win an engagement. Again, your primary goal isn't to kill, just if the opportunity presents itself, don't forget to, you know, keep yourself open. The biggest thing that Interceptor has is mobility on the grid. So making sure that you're in and around and being near targets that are isolated or possibly near their warp-in point, if you know what align they're on. So if they're like warping from a station to a gate, you know, being on that align, getting ready. All of those things are going to help you out. So here again, there's another isolated Logi ship here, and my fleet finally calls me to go tackle it, and I'm the one that's going to grab the initial tackle on and make sure that once MOA gets on top of it, that I can release the tackle and let them go by. So I just scram it there, and a MOA's already getting on top of it, so I can actually just get out. But again, I'm staying wide. I've got my zoom really far out, so that way I can see the battle. I can look for ships that are aggroing, so that way I can grab points on them and hold them down until a heavier ship like a MOA can finish the job. Not the super glamorous when you're flying in or with a brawling fleet, but as you can see here, I killed a Griffin, which may have helped our Logi chain, and I also helped secure a kill on one of their Logis just because I was there with a really fast point. And here again on this VPL, you know, calling final points, being able to burn back in when the fight goes bad, making sure you got those long points and scrams ready are really clutch in order to secure kills. Our fight gets kind of third-partied here by a large snuff box gang, and luckily though we're able to kill those people and I think warp out to safety. So all in all, it was a good fight and just some fun piloting. So just to wrap up the final little bit of the video here, I'm just going to kind of review really quickly what we've gone over, and hopefully it'll help lock in some of the things that I've explained in the video. I apologize if this video didn't have a lot of intense action in it. There's just so much to cover just because of how technical these little ships can be. So just wrapping up the video here as a review, the roles of tackle are, providing on-grid positioning, being the eyes and ears of the fleet, and getting the content, really, and just being the fast scram if you need it. We also touched on communication. So communication when you're jumping into a system. You call out how many people are in local. You call out the system name and the in-gate clear if there's no one there, and then you descan. If on the descan you see ratting or whatever you're trying to hunt down, let them know, say, I see ratters, I'm scanning them down. If your outgate is on the descan, you know the outgate's clear and you can go. If it's not on descan, once you do land at the outgate, say outgate in EC Tech PR is clear, and then jump through the system. If you do get a tackle on something, always list what you're tackling, where you're tackling. An example of that would be, let's say you tackle a rattlesnake off a gate. So you can say, I've got a rattlesnake tackled off the EC Tech PR gate in like system name like PFR. I'm just making up names, so obviously that isn't a real thing. But that way people know that you're on the gate in the system, there's no confusion, it's to be no more than that, it's very simple. The last bit is on-grid positioning and flying. That just comes with a lot of experience, a lot of practice, learning how to manually orbit, make those circles in a very, very tight airspace instead of doing an orbit, learning where you want to drop your fleet from warp-ins, being able to look at a grid, see bubbles, see where your fleet might be coming from, either from a gate or a planet or something, and not causing them to get dragged into a bubble, and getting them in a good position. If you can get them behind Logi, away from the enemy fleet, or right on top of them if you're brawling, that's exactly what you want to do. And then lastly, finding content. Being really good with descan, like I had showed you with those simple techniques of descanning anoms very, very quickly, or just using the descan to figure out in what distance things are to you, instead of just trying to narrow down an asteroid belt or narrow down anoms. But that's kind of basically the quick review. I know it was a lot to cover, and maybe this video is a little bit too much lecture, but these ships are, for me, it's difficult to make a video about them without really doing them due justice by trying to explain as many concepts as I can in a short period of time.